Welcome back to another video. In this one we're going to be hopping in the boat with Brian Brosdahl. We're going to be chasing walleyes. We're going to be throwing jigs. Bro's got a bunch of really good tips that he's going to share with you. So without further ado, let's jump right in. I'm going to pass it off to Bro. We're going to put some walleyes in the boat.
I love a good bite when the walleyes are chewing. Oh yeah, there's a walleye. That's when I could swing them up here. I'm using the stand-up tungsten heads. Northland has some really cool jigs coming up. How you doing, buddy? They stand up, so they hold your minnow or your plastic up in the air, and the fish love them. You liked that, didn't you? See? Love the shape. It's going to be one of my new favorites. So I double hooked a minnow there, but you could see that flat head allows it to stand in the water. And I put a little loop knot there, or actually it's a big loop knot, but I like that so the jig can move around. And it's got a little bump here that holds your bait on really nice, and that's great for plastics. Little barb, so when I put the minnow's mouth over that, it just keeps them locked on, so you don't cast your minnow off and the fish don't get it.
Next up, Bro is going to share his rod reel line setup that he likes to use. When he's using these jigs specifically, he's going to break down his entire system.
Well, I got to tell you, I like to use braid. You get a good feel when you use braid. I have really nice fishing poles, but the braid telegraphs everything. And then I'll add fluorocarbon leader on there for a little clear spot. A lot of the lakes are super clear now because of zebra mussels. And that little clear spot at the end is really important. And sometimes I'll go down to 6-pound leader. Even though this is 10-pound braid, a 6-pound leader is nice when the fish are real wary. And I'm gonna have to net this one.
I was gonna ask if you needed a net.
Here we go. But the not a monster, but I don't want to have to retie. Look at that on the stand-up jig head. So I'll show you how I'm using it. Here, buddy. Thanks for fighting and biting. I'm gonna let you go here in a second. So hooks them really good. That's a sticky sharp hook. That's the stand-up jig, and it fishes heavy just with a fat head. There we go. There's a piece of gold there. I'm gonna let that one go. Here we go, buddy. So on the braid, I'll do a back-to-back uni. I probably should have cleaned that up, but it's working. And then I'll have 2.5 feet and the jig, and I tie a little loop knot. I like that loop knot because it allows your jig to get more activity. And I tied the loop a little bit big there. You can close it down farther, but you get more action out of that jig and you're gonna get more bites. So most of the time I'll use 10-pound braid, and then I'll add this 6-pound, sometimes 8. If you got pike around, I'll go 10, because then you don't get bit off as much. It's abrasion resistance and is amazing. This fluorocarbon line, and wherever there's zebra mussels, they're constantly slicing into your line, and this resists it. Plus it's a clear spot. Now I don't doubt that we would catch fish just using straight braid because they're hungry today, but love that stand-up jig.
Now Bro is going to show how he works the bait along the bottom to get more bites, to entice more strikes, and he's also going to demonstrate how he sets the hook to put more of those fish in the boat.
When I cast out, let it sink to the bottom, and that stand-up head's just going to hold the minnow up, and I like to just pull it forward just a little bit. I call it the crayfish walk. So they know it's a minnow, but if it skitters forward, so do a double hop. That double hop gets it moving away from them. And today we have low pressure, so the fish are just kind of grabbing onto it, and they're not slamming it. And so when you feel a bite, you're setting the hook with your reel. You reel it tight, and then you set the hook. Okay, so now here I got a fish biting on it. If you see the rod tip, just pulling on there, and sometimes I'll let go. He's not letting go, so I'm reeling, and then I set. So you reel it tight. And when you're fishing on the ocean, you use circle hooks. Treat it like a circle hook. You reel it until that point finds the roof of their mouth, and then you sweep. And Northland's hooks are so sharp. If you just, all you gotta do is reel, basically, but you cinch it in with the rod. There we go. All right. That was a light bite, and so just kind of reeling it tight to set the hook is kind of a tournament thing. Every bite is so important. You want to make sure you get them. And that fish was just hanging onto it, trying to get part of the minnow. Beautiful fish right there. And in a tournament, you can't afford to miss any fish. So you're really cautious. It's like your last bite. You just got to make it happen. I treat every fish like that. And right now, they're not hitting hard. So you want to definitely, when the fish hit, you got to pause, let them take it, and then reel. And when it bends, set the hook.
Now Bro is gonna share some thoughts on color, what you should be looking for when you go to the tackle shop and pick up a few of these jigs.
You know, right now I've washed a lot of colors, and I'm kind of settling on this moonlight color. We got a dark, eerie day, and I do like using golds and dark colors on a dark day. But that little extra glow that it has is helping me get more bites. I'm gonna have to pass this one. And some rain moved in, which is fine. That's what rain suits are for. There we go. But it is just killing them. And I love that long shank stand-up tungsten, and you'll see, there it is. The moonlight's kind of a blue and white, and probably is the least selling color out there, but every tournament person has that. And of course black is really hot in tournaments, but this is one of the hottest tournament colors. And I'm telling you, when you go fishing, make sure you have that. Parrot's also a good one, and catching fish like that, a lot of fun.
Now these new stand-up jigs are really good for a lot of things. You can use them for plastics, you can use them for crawlers, leeches, you can use them for minnows, of course. On this particular day, we were using minnows. So I'm gonna pass it off to Bro now, and he's gonna demonstrate how he threads a minnow onto a long shank or a normal shank version of this jig.
When I'm using minnows, especially these, like these rainbows, well, there's no inexpensive minnows anymore. They're kind of expensive now, but you gotta have them. So I like to double hook them. So you could hook them and come out the head here. If you hook it through the nose, you might as well just throw your bait in, because it's gonna fly off. So I open their mouth right here, and then with this long shank jig, I immediately turn, and I won't stick the hook out. I'll just have it right there underneath the surface to make it weedless. And then when the walleye bites down on it, then I set the hook. Surprise, there's steel in there.
Last up, Bro is gonna demonstrate how he hooks a minnow onto the short shank version of this stand-up jig. I know a lot of you like short shanks when you're using live bait, so I had to make sure we got that into the video as well.
I use a short shank tungsten stand-up jig when I'm using bigger minnows like this. And it's perfect for just coming out right by the head. Bigger minnows, you don't need a long shank. That's what I use. And then it stays alive, it twitches, and that's the way to go. So I always keep some short shank of these tungstens for big bait.
As you could see, the weather was really picking up that day. Unfortunately, my camera gear, what I got here, is not a big fan of water, so we had to pack up, head in, but the fish were biting. It was a great day. Special thanks to Bro for sharing a bunch of really good information. If you enjoyed this video and you learned something, make sure to hit that little red subscribe button down below, because we have a lot more awesome content coming in the future. And until then, we will see you in the next one.